Now, one of the big issues for you right now is abortion, and that's also emerging as a big issue for 2024 prospective candidates. You describe yourself as pro-life, but you often face some criticism from your own side, accusing you of not being pro-life. You want a middle ground, and that's been heard a little bit. Nikki Haley, who's running for president recently, said that she wants federal consensus. Do you think that abortion policy is going to shape the 2024 race?
Well, it shaped 2022 races, and I do believe that if Republicans, if they ignore it, that it will also affect our races in 24. And it's interesting because I mostly talk about exceptions for rape, for incest, for life of the mother. I talk about women's access to birth control. I talk about adoption services. And that's too radical for some people on the far right. Republicans up here don't want to vote to give women better access to birth control. And you have to ask yourself, what the is wrong with you? If you want to reduce the number of abortions in this country, then you also need to increase the number of women who can have access to birth control, safe access to birth control, because we have entire counties in this country that don't have a single OBGYN doctor. And if you want to get serious about saving lives, then let's get serious about saving lives and also showing that you can be pro-life and you can be pro-woman at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. And to be afraid to talk about rape in this country when millions of women have gone through that, when there are hundreds of thousands of rape kits sitting on shelves that haven't been processed yet, and we can't get convictions on those crimes because they haven't been processed, it's pretty much like being to women, and we can't do that. If you want to win over suburban moms, show compassion. And what I'm trying to do is show a roadmap and show that middle ground. And it really wasn't that long ago that my ideas were mainstream in the Republican Party. Just 2 years ago, pro-life groups embraced a bill that was a 20-week bill with exceptions for rape and incest. But since Roe was overturned, they've moved the goalposts, and they're celebrating bans that don't have exceptions. They don't want to talk about birth control. If you talk about birth control, they won't work with you. I know this firsthand because that's what's been going on in our office. Because we're talking about birth control measures, some of these pro-life groups will not work with us. And it's disgusting. And what I want to show is that as a conservative living in a very purple district, this is the roadmap to winning in states and in districts where independents outnumber Republicans, or where Democrats and independents outnumber Republicans, where we can win over suburban women and suburban moms. There's a path to doing that, but you gotta take positions and be vocal about them and show that you care.
Now, are there other issues you feel similarly that you could have a better 2024 strategy?
Violence. I think gun violence is a huge issue. If you're a suburban mom and you're dropping your kids off at school, you worry every single day, is my kid's school going to be the next mass shooting? Or my church, or my synagogue, or the Planned Pregnancy Center that I volunteer at? Is this going to be the next one? And because I say gun violence is bad, people automatically think I'm saying gun control. It's almost like gun violence is a four-letter word, but we need not be afraid. There are things that we can do, like a mass or active shooter alert when there is a mass shooting, to allow people in a half-mile radius of the shooting to know to take cover, maybe not leave your building or your home or your work if that's happening, to give people a warning. There are things we can do to strengthen background checks that have nothing to do with taking away the guns of law-abiding citizens. Hardening our schools and synagogues and churches with leftover COVID funds. There are so many things that we can do where we can show a middle ground that the vast majority of Americans support. So does the left, so does the right. And we shouldn't be afraid to talk about sensitive issues or controversial issues if we have policies and ideas and plans in place that keep communities safe. Why is it so difficult to have a conversation? And then if I say gun violence, I'm attacked for saying gun violence. It's happening. In fact, there was a mass shooting. We've had multiple mass shootings in my district this year. In fact, just a few weeks ago, my kids and I were a mile down the road from a shooting where 6 people were shot. 6 people. And my kids turned to me. The first thing they said to me was, "Hey, Mommy, where's the Amber Alert to tell us we're near a shooting and to not go outside?" I'm out of the mouths of babes. The kids have so much common sense.
Now, continuing on 2024, you have a relationship with Nikki Haley, as we mentioned, but there's also another South Carolinian who might be entering the race in Tim Scott. You haven't made an endorsement yet, but are you considering making an endorsement in the primary?
And my campaign manager is now Trump's state director and lives in the district too.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's all sorts of this trifecta thing that's going on right now. I will tell you, I've said I'm going to watch the race and see how it settles and see who's going to actually be in the race and who's not. I have said for a long time that I want to see a woman on the ticket. I greatly admire Nikki Haley. She endorsed me. She was the only one to endorse me last year in my race where Donald Trump handpicked someone to run against me, and we won. We were the only House Republican to win a race against Donald Trump last year. And so I have great admiration and respect for her for sticking her neck out. And so I am watching closely. I would love to see a South Carolinian on the ticket. I would certainly love for it to be a woman. It's past time we had a woman president, and I would love for her to be conservative.
Now, you did mention Trump tried to sort of oust you from your seat. And you've been critical of him in the past, but you've also been supportive of some of the things he's done.
Yeah.
Would you support him if he was the nominee?
I've said I'll support the nominee when we get through the process, and I hope that it's a vigorous process right now. I've largely, by and large, supported his policies over the years, and that's never changed. But the politics of personality sometimes, is unnecessary. We are fighting enough to save our country. We don't need to fight each other. And many of us take up different issues that are important to our states and our district and our nation, and we should be encouraging that. We should want every Republican to be successful, which means not just winning a primary and then losing a general. We should want to win primaries and win general elections, which means in bellwether districts and bellwether states, you have to appeal to beyond the Republican Party. You have to appeal to independents and moderates and centrists, and even maybe people who are left of center. And I've shown a path and a way to do that as a conservative, being able to bring people over. We have more independents than Republicans by double digits in our district. And Democrats and independents outnumber Republicans 2-1. I'm a conservative sitting in this seat, and I've shown that there is a path to winning in purple districts. And we've done it, and here's how.